Okay, my friends, we're getting live on Instagram. Just give us a minute. There we go. So, when I started putting this podcast together, I really wanted to have industry leaders who are making an impact, but not people who were forceful and imposing. And I asked the group, Chiropractic Women's Group, and if you guys aren't a part of that group, jump in. Who would you like to see on the Staffless Practice podcast? And so many people talked about Dr. Ericka, and I don't really know you very well. I'm super excited to get to know you, but you seem to have this calm, kind presence about you, which really resonates with me because I'm such a spaz. So, with that being said, Dr. Ericka, please introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you? What do you do in this world?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm Dr. Ericka Lupardus. I am owner of Empowered Life Chiropractic. It started out as. Now it's Empowered Life Collective of multiple providers in different industries. But I also am doing EmpowHER Business Coaching and Consulting because I do work part-time. It's one of my biggest assets and things that people ask for mentorship on just how do you do it. So I'm in a small rural town, Decatur, Texas. I went to Parker University and I never left after meeting my husband. So we're here in lovely Texas.
Did you grow up there?
No, so I actually grew up in Wisconsin.
Okay.
So
It's
just
not
outside
a
of
far
Milwaukee
stretch,
area.
right?
It's far. I grew up wanting to always move to Texas. So when I got into chiropractic and found out Parker was in Texas, I was like, okay, it's a no-brainer.
That's cool. So what is Empower Her? What does that mean?
So EmpowHER is really to embrace our female side of us in being a practitioner. Um, there's so many times where we hear the grind, you have to work hard, the relentless hours, all of that. And it's like we can't function at that capacity like men do. And it's really just focusing on what do you want in your life and your family values, your morals, all of that, and really putting that into your practice and working for you, not against you.
How do you know if you're not doing that? What are the signals?
Burnout, you're tired, I want out of chiropractic, all of those things that we constantly see all over social media and just trying to get rid of that imposter syndrome, really. I really focus on your human design. So,
Say it again, the human design?
yeah, human
Tell me
design.
about that. I want to know about that.
So, a lot of us hear about social styles, the disc, the Enneagram, all of those things. Those come in waves with us in our personalities. So, with human design, it's what we are born with. It's our soul, it's our innate, it's how our body was designed to actually function in life. And I'm a projector, so I can't work long hours. I like my short stints. I do great in like 2 hour increments, 3 hour increments, and not having to grind all the time. There's manifestors, there's many gens, there's generators. So based off of where you're born, the time you were born, is what defines what you are in human design. I've
What if
taken
you
it.
don't know what time you were born?
There's ways to figure out, and that we can manipulate, just kind of with what hours, morning or evening, with that.
Uh-huh.
So it's not precise enough that you can't figure it out. But I've also taken a little step further on how it applies to chiropractic offices and just healthcare professionals
I
in
would tell me
general.
about that. How does it apply to
Yeah.
chiropractic? But also, like you guys, I know a lot of you are not chiropractors, you're PTs, NDs, OTs, whatever. Just apply
Yeah.
it to your practice. So, how does it apply to practice? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah. So as a projector, for me, I really disliked those 3 hour lunch breaks. So a lot of times for chiropractic office, we're open 9 to noon and then 3 to
Right.
5 or 3 to 6. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, I'm tapped out after one shift. So when I design my practice, that's what my hours are. So Tuesday, 9 to noon, and then I'm done for the day with patients.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesdays, 2 to 5, and then I'm done. Like, you have to create that practice that actually resonates with you to show up to your patients the way that you need to. And that's how we avoid the burnout. So it's not just with that, but marketing wise, I'm not an extrovert. So I'm not the one that's going to be pounding the pavement at a booth with a 10 by 10, like doing screenings. That's just not me. There's people who are great for that. Manifestors are great to do that. But I took it a different way and I did it the way that I wanted to. I like that one-on-one connection. I like to be able to do those smaller,
Right.
almost like lunch and learns, going to luncheons, going to different networking groups, and just being able to mingle and understand people on a personal basis versus just a very large scale.
So there's
So,
implementer, can you go through the groups?
so there's manifestors, there's generators, then there's manifestor generators, which are the two kind of combined. Then there's projectors, and then the very rarest, which only 2% of the population are, is reflectors. Those are our chameleons who can do kind of everything.
So it's like the disc system, but it's more innately driven. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying? Okay.
yeah,
And
yeah.
are you able to like go on, like, are you able to zoom in and see like how my personality is? Are you able to identify where I fall?
Yes, for the most part, just looking and kind of interacting with people, you can kind of guess what they are. But we even like look down into there's different ways in your actual body chart for human design that it'll guide you to the foods that you should eat, whether it
No
should be
way.
hot or
Really?
cold. Yep. On just like what you need to do for your self-care, even just are you a bath spa person? Do you need downtime? Do you need meditation? There's a lot of different components with it. So you can deep dive into this 100% just like you would with like Enneagram or this, but there's so much more even to it that I've just implemented with healthcare practices.
It's funny where my brain goes is when I talk chiropractic with my practice members, I say my job isn't to get rid of your symptoms, it's to turn the volume up so that you're more connected
Mm-hmm.
to what your body needs. So I want to hear you talk about like after an adjustment, after a massage, after a run for runners, after a session at church for churchgoers, do you find that people are more tapped into their natural chart setting?
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's cool. That's cool and it's intimidating. And I also have this voice in my head. I have friends who would say that this is really against the natural way of doing things. But I also feel like you can't, all of these people and all of this research can't be wrong, you know?
Right.
Um, so how do you take this then and help people succeed in practice? What do you do with it?
Yeah, so I have the aligned practice method, and what we do is whenever you're coaching with me is we first figure out your human design. What are you? And understanding your energy patterns. A lot of people that come to me are younger docs. They are trying to start up, get out of an associate position, or coming out of school. So that's the perfect time to like analyze it. But I also have docs who have been out for 10 plus years that are like, I can't do this anymore. I'm burning out. It's too much. Or they've started a family and they just can't balance it all.
Mm-hmm.
So we see what works around that, just get rid of all the guilt about having to do it all. And that's really where like the automations come into play and the workflows and stuff that we also map out and frame out for your practice. And it's just not having that cookie cutter template of a
Right.
practice that so many chiros have. Like we can't do that. So I work literally 11 hours with patients right now. I am able to pick up my kids, drop them off. I can go to sport events, Like I purposely structured my hours around my family so that I can be there, but also so that I'm not burnt out for them or my patients. And
I'm
that's
I'm
the
curious
balance.
to hear you talk more about workflows because that's kind of tapping into our world. Can you
Yeah.
give me an example of what a workflow would look like?
Yeah. So with our workflows, a lot of it just stems from the new patient. So that they're being nurtured, they know who they are and where we are, that we value their time for their intake forms to get done, um, showing them exactly where we're at and welcoming them, and still having that characteristics of talking to a human
Mhm.
when they're getting these reminders. Um, we then have all of those sent out via text. Our population does a lot of texting in our community. So we do that. We have workflows of just having a follow-up text after their new patient appointment and following up to kind of check in on them. Um, and I love following up on my patients. I used to be that doctor that would call all my patients, new patients, at the end of the day. And that's great, but I have a 3 and a 5-year-old crazy boys in the background at night now. I'm like, I can't really do that. So sending those texts automatically just with our automations has been so helpful, making sure that all their questions are answered. But
Yep.
it comes down to even all of the email marketing. I opened up and founded a nonprofit. So even with our nonprofit, all of the email campaigns that are automated that I don't have to think about.
Right.
Um, it's so much of the business owner admin.
Oh, I lost your sound. I lost your sound there. Can't hear you. I'm curious to hear more about Dr. Ericka's nonprofit. I definitely want to hear about
Oh,
that. Oh,
I couldn't hear you for a second.
hi.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. So I'm interested to hear more about your nonprofit. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Guiding Mama Bear, I founded in 2022. So 3 years into practice. Being in a small rural town, I literally was the first female chiropractor that was prenatal certified, pediatrics, like doing anything on the wellness scale. So what I started to develop was our Empowered Life Collective, where these providers, nurse practitioner, mental health counselor, PT, OT, our midwife, like all come together and can collaborate care together, but not only just collaborate in general, but provide it on a sliding scale for patients.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
so in 2025, it's almost a year, we expanded to a 3,000 square foot space, and I have my medical doctor, my nurse practitioner, my mental health counselor, an IV clinic, and we are recently just adding an esthetician into our space. That all collaborate. We're all women. We're all working part time. Like we're doing all of the things to really care for our community. But then Guiding Mama Bear comes into play is to expand the access to all of those things. Last year, we were able to provide full home birth care from all of their prenatals to their ultrasounds to even iron transfusions that one needed, um, to have 2 home births fully covered and paid for through Guiding Mama Bear for
That's
free surgeries.
incredible. That's
So
good for you for doing that.
thanks.
And you know what, Ericka, you could be sitting on the couch and you are really changing your community. You guys, what
Yeah,
I want you to hear more than anything is all you need is the vision. And
yeah,
what I'm hearing you say is that you do that and you have really clean boundaries around time, energy, money. And
exactly.
I think that where people burn out, I have chills right now. Where people burn out right is we give and we give and we give and we give, and there's a very big lack of exchange. Or we
Yeah,
take and we take and we take and we take. I think that being on either end of that spectrum can create dis-ease, disharmony, dysregulation, subluxation, whatever. So kudos to you. Like big pat on the back. That is awesome.
Thank you.
I want to go back to the workflows and the automation, because that's our world. Like we get everybody ready for one click practice readiness, right? And when is it important to not have automation? When is the knee-to-knee, heart-to-heart important in your practice?
It comes in with patient care. I mean, none of my in-person stuff is automated, obviously. I review their paperwork 3 times before even walking through the door for their new patient. I have it memorized.
Wow.
That is like the biggest thing is I never wanted to be that doc that had to be like scrambling, writing notes down, reviewing paperwork right in front of them. Like I want to know that patient inside and out. And that's why we preference. Like if that paperwork's not done 24 hours before your appointment, I just simply can't see you because I want to be able to know you. So that's where those automations and those constant reminders are like, hey, this is really important. We need it filled out completely before you step through those doors. So a lot of my new patient process is just talking and showing that I looked at their paperwork, because there's so many times that you go into a doctor's office and they're like, what are you here for? It's like,
why did I just spend an hour
did I
forms on your website?
Did you read my paperwork?
There's there are 2 sides to this. My chiropractor growing up, I don't think I ever saw him take a note. I think the only admin he had in his practice was people would sign in when they walked in. And like you could see everybody, you could see how busy his day was by his sign-in sheet. Yet he was the best chiropractor I've ever been served by. So there's that side. And then there are people who dot their I's, cross the T's, check the boxes, and then they're somewhere in the middle. So how do you, when you're working with a doc, how do you, I guess it goes back to where they place, where their chart places. How do you respect their natural driven way of being? Like if we think about my chiropractor growing up, there's no way in hell he would read paperwork before somebody walked in, but his hands read the system in a way that I've never seen since. Right. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so depending on just their energy flows and what they are in their human design, we can customize that. Not everyone can memorize paperwork like I can, but that's just the projector in me that I have to have that one-on-one energy, and I pick up on those super small details, and I'll pick that up, and that's great in my follow-up process too, is I remember those exact conversations of, hey, they have a wedding to go to next weekend that they're trying to, make sure that they're well for, or whatever it might be. But some people, they do need to have that paper, and we'll systematize it so that they are a little bit more analytical, where they can do those check boxes, but still being present with their patient. Or if they are needing more of just like that one-on-one guidance of a paper type of system to follow along into a procedure, then we can do that. Everyone works and operates differently. Some people need a longer new patient appointment. Some people don't. My new patients, 15 minutes, but some like 30 minutes. And I'm totally okay with that. And when we're coaching, that's really where we have to shift kind of our perspective of, well, what can I do in a shift? How long do I need a shift? What does my energy allow for that? And going from there. I'm not a high volume doctor, but I kind of am a high volume doctor, if that makes sense. So
can you
with
define,
me,
what does that mean for people who don't know what high volume doctor means?
Yeah, so we hear about, like, in the chiropractic field, specifically patient visits. How many patient visits do you see a week? Some of them are like 100, 200, they're like 500. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that.
Can you imagine?
Obviously, I'm only in practice. Yeah. Like, obviously, I'm only there typically 10 to 15 hours a week, depending on the season of life. But I still see 100 patients at least in a week, but I'm still providing valuable care to them. I'm resetting their nervous system. We're actually looking at them in a tonal aspect to really get down deep and heal them.
Just out of
But
curiosity, what technique do you use in your practice?
so I use a tonal analysis, MC2, and then I use a little bit of diversified Thompson, so drop tables, activator. I see a lot of families. So I'll have, I mean, my largest family I take care of is 8.
And
So
just to double click, when you say a tonal analysis, you mean your palpation is more tonal than motion? What do you mean by that?
yes, tonal, just checking primary and secondary subluxations,
Uh-huh.
not overwhelming the nervous system when it comes to that, and
So
really seeing what their priority is.
it's like when somebody's hands are on my neck and they're like, let's see how your atlas is doing. And their fingers are like in my throat. I'm like,
Mhm.
you're subluxating.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I get
And
what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
I see a lot of pregnant moms, and they'll come into me, right at their estimated due date, or they're in early labor, and you can't do a bunch of stuff to them. But there's so many key areas that you have to check and that you want to make sure is moving appropriately and that they can actually do that. So I've had so many cases where moms come in and they're in early labor, and 30 minutes later their water breaks and then baby's here,
Right,
so, and
right. It's
everything goes
cool.
flawlessly. So
We all have the same stories, and we get
mhm,
there by different means. It's very cool.
right.
Tell us about the quiz that's scrolling along the bottom of the screen. What is that all about?
Yeah, so my quiz is essentially a human design quiz. It's going to ask you different ways that you work, for like how you like to work in your office, how you respond to patients, how you want to do your time and energy. And then it's going to give you a little bit of what your human design is based off of your answers that way, instead of looking at your birth time and your
Okay.
birthday. So I've tailored it just a bit to kind of be more on that healthcare professional aspect. And then from there, what you can do is book a discovery call with me to learn more about what your human design is and kind of how we can help tailor your practice to just be more energetic to you. And then we have our aligned and profitable practice toolkit that you'll be sent if you reach out with quiz.
That's cool. So you guys, 940-370-4677. Again, it's 940-370-4677. Text the word quiz, Quiz. Dr. Ericka, is there anything else you want to mention or share with the audience at the Staffless Practice Podcast?
I mean, I love what you're doing. I am so thankful that you sent me your book. I was going through it and I was like, wow, there's even more golden nuggets in here that I need to do and implement, especially for the voicemail system. But I just love that there's other providers out there, and especially you expanding that access to full healthcare providers, because it's not just about the chiropractic field. And that's really where I was doing a lot of my coaching with my collective of those providers. Like, we can do this on a massive scale. We don't have to, work that 9 to 5 hustle all the time, unless you want to, unless that's your energy style and that's your human design, like, let's do it. But, there's so much more that we can do to really achieve that work-life balance and really implementing different profit centers. So I
And
appreciate you.
if someone was to say, hey, I'm thinking about leaning into Jody Dinnerman's systems, the Staffless Practice Way, what would you say to them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The workflows and automations and like systems that you have in place and are doing is essentially like what we need to be able to be hands off and have that downtime and really being able to, you know, have just consistency in our practice as well. Even though I'm not staffless, like I could be because of my automations. in my workflows and stuff. And that's exactly what you do. So, it's great for those that are starting up. It's great for those who are already in practice. But yeah, no, it's a no-brainer for sure.
I appreciate that. Well, you guys, if you're listening, as always, we're loving you from here, and go make the world better with great care. Dr. Ericka, please hang out. And thank you so much for being on my podcast. You guys, again, 940-370-4677. Text the word quiz. Reach out to Dr. Ericka. There are priceless pearls that she's going to be able to offer your practice, things that you don't even know that you need. So reach out, always learn from these different ways of doing things and different ways of being in practice, so that we can serve more people, less time with more joy. So Dr. Ericka, please hang out. Thanks again for being on. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, guys.